Um, for the longest time, I enjoy self-knowledge. The pursuit of it, I don't know if it can be attained, but it's something that's kind of, maybe it's part of my personality. And I've always wanted to really understand. Music is one of the things that I think is pretty much a human universal. And um, I enjoy music. It's not it's not really a hobby for me. I've got some playlists that I'll just put on loop that I with stuff I like. But what I like, I'll explore and I'll experiment with, and I change over time. And I'm you get old and you like the stuff from your youth. And I'm seeing some of that, but I'm falling in love with brand new stuff. And so I know that there's something about my personality or whatever that keeps me open enough that music is still a pretty fresh thing. And I've always wanted to know what I like about stuff when I come across new stuff, or why I liked stuff in the past. And I'm going to ignore the fact that stuff has been manufactured, not just as manufactured art, but as manufactured success. You'll get it. Imagine it's the 1970s, and there's a song becomes popular. Well, maybe just some people behind a boardroom table went, "Let's make this a number one hit." And you just play that one. Now everybody listens to that. Now it's popular just because they say so. It's not. It, what makes anybody think that anything is successful because for any reason at all? And so there's a lot of music that's just, it's there because it was there, because it was manufactured to be there. And you like something because you were told to like it, because it was there. Because what variety do we have exposure to? There's one band that that I liked that was new to me. They were not, I don't think they were the opening band, called Stolen Babies. And the reason I'm not bringing them up because I particularly like them or anything like that, but that they are an example of how their live and it was really disappointing. Their live performance was better than their studio stuff. And that was the first time I actually ever noticed that. And it's not because I like the roughness of a stage presence. They were just better to me, and I didn't understand why or how that was even possible. So that was fascinating as a way of me thinking about why I like something, or what about it. And I started kind of paying attention to the kinds of things that I was immediately attracted to. And I could talk about some of the things, like I will be able to predict whether or not I will like something, and I could convey a bunch of ideas to you. And you could go into your archives of stuff that you know about, and you could pull out a couple of songs based on those attributes and present a bunch. And you can have like a control group of stuff. You just present a bunch of stuff to me, and you could say, well, I predict that I'll like this song and this song and this song and this song, and I won't like these songs. Or maybe it will be like, it is less likely that I will like these songs. And you present 100 songs in this battery and this battery and this battery, and you make the prediction that based on how I describe what I like, I will more often like those songs from artists I've never heard of, songs I've never heard. And I understand myself well enough, and I can convey my likes so well that, assuming you understand, assuming you can apply that, even if it is applicable to your music, because it's hard to convey some of these ideas, because music isn't a hobby of mine, so I don't understand some of the terminology. For example, maybe that's true for you, but you'll have moderate success. You'll find some moderate success in presenting songs to me. And so I've actually been paying attention to what I do and don't like, and when I'm presented with some stuff, I'll go, hey, I like that. And I've often wondered how I migrate from intuition to understanding for myself. And I've thought about making a video series specific about me going through songs and explaining what I do and don't like, and then maybe doing a breakdown and understanding more from a technical perspective what's going on with a song at any particular moment in time. There are some songs that I like. I will flag the whole thing as I like that song. But there are songs that I like that, that are, I only like some of it, but I like it enough that I flag the entire song as I like it. And I want to pull it out and identify that bit, and then pull it out enough and compare it to when that kind of thing happens in these other songs that I also like. And I wanted to do that. I want to make a video series going song after song after song, and going through and cutting them apart and looking at it and talking about it, and learning all the technical stuff. And I was going to do that. I'm kind of falling into maybe the trap of doing what I'm doing right now, what you're watching and listening to now. I was thinking about maybe also doing, it's not exactly song reviews, but it is song opinions, and pausing and talking about it and replaying again and again and again at least pieces of songs. And I can't, we don't live in a world where I can do that. And maybe I might have been able to do that in the past. I certainly can't do it now. I can't do it now because I've paid attention to it. So I've had this kind of like, not even a backburner, not a dream, or it's not an itch. It's not like the thing that's leading me to try to learn to draw or anything like that. It's nothing. It's way back there. It's like, if I needed content ideas, it was in that array of stuff that I could tinker with. But I've paid attention to other people talking about these sorts of things, and copyright and automation and artificial intelligence completely obliterates the very concept of doing anything like that. Like, I can, arrogantly speaking, I can add value to other people appreciating their own music by me analyzing mine and why I appreciate things. I can't do that anymore. So the world is worse off when, not necessarily because me, but if nobody can do that kind of thing. Maybe that would have been, the way I would have done it would probably have been, it would have been unique to my understanding, because I don't know everything. Maybe there's somebody out there who's been doing that exact thing. And I just kind of had this my evolution happened to be, marsupials that evolved in Australia versus Madagascar, and I'm making that up. But there's like the long pinky of certain animals, the long nail of certain animals evolved in totally, and the animals are not genetically linked. I mean, whatever, they were both fish at some point or something like that, but that's not close enough to explain that. They just happened because their environment was similar, and they just happened to find success evolving in certain ways. Maybe it would be like that, where I would develop this music opinion thing where it already existed with somebody more successful. I find some measure of success doing it, and people come along going, "You're just copying this," somebody I've never heard of. That's embarrassing when that kind of thing happens, because it really, forever, it would be, you thought you were doing something unique, and nobody would respect you because they think you're copying, which is, it's really saddening. It's really saddening, but maybe it's an inevitability with everything that anybody ever does, because we're all human. We're all working with the same kind of environment. Some of us are going to be a little bit, there's going to be some overlap between people. You're going to get ideas that happen to have evolved separately, that happen to be very similar or even identical. It's an inevitability with enough people over enough time doing enough things. So the song thing, I wanted us to cut up songs and stuff like that, but copyright and artificial intelligence it can't be done now, because I've heard people talking about a 2-second clip of audio that they had in there, that maybe they were reviewing a song, or maybe it was just like a jingle as part of a remix or something like that. And there was a song. That song is a remake of some even older song, but that song has powerful lawyers behind it. And that song was remade, and that song was remade a second time, and there's another version of it, and then like a 2-second clip of that way different end version was used. And the other people with lawyers go along and say, No, it's taken down by default with no recourse. It's just pulled, even though, let's say YouTube, for example, um, YouTube is in American law, it is explicitly legal for a content distributor to have pirated content. Like literally pirated, actually objectively illegal content. It is legal, it is okay. They're not held accountable. There are processes in place for the owners of content to identify with to identify content which is improperly used, and to go to the provider, the host, and tell them and demonstrate to them and have the stuff pulled down. That's there, and there's the platform is safe, explicitly safe. It's maybe it's inadequate, maybe all kinds of stuff, but that's what's there. But YouTube and a lot of other providers will make the assumption that there is any authenticity in the claim at all, will nuke the content, and they themselves may not have any communication channel with that victim and with the source, the harassment source, and those they might not connect the two parties together either. And you've got a problem like that in something like YouTube very explicitly. And music is there's fingerprinting registration, and there's an AI that crawls through music and will go through, especially somebody who's popular, especially somebody who's had one other strike before. Everything they do will be analyzed because it's easy. Just pull out the audio track, 30 minutes, skip through with an AI, pattern recognition. It's incredible, and it's done a lot, and a person will just get hit by this stuff, and again and again and again, and it's just automated, and it's awful, awful, awful. And so if I were to do that with music, well, maybe I would be okay with it if stuff was getting flagged and like Warner Brothers Music Group was getting monetization put on those videos and they were getting the money for it. Maybe I would be okay with that, even though it would be technically legal both in my country and the United States, I mean Canada. Even though it will be illegal as a transformative or a review work, it would be legal for me to use it. You would call it fair use. Even though it's legal, the platform would not support the concept at all, and would just by default maybe even automate the essentially the murder of that entire genre, my hobby for that kind of thing. Maybe I would be okay with them taking the money because I got the experience and it's exposure, because it's more content for me to draw in more people. But that's me working for free, essentially. I mean, it's me working for exposure, which if you're an artist, if you're like in a band or something like that, working for exposure. If you're in New York and you're up and coming, hey, come to my bar and work for free. It's for exposure. Like, nah, no, just no, not going to do that. I don't want to make content for free for somebody. So for example, I have made and hope I will probably continue to make live streaming for Okami. It's a PlayStation game originally for the PlayStation 2, and it was first ported to the Wii for widescreen and for using a little controller and stuff like that. So pretty cool, and I still kind of want to buy that. At any rate, I have the original hardware and all that kind of stuff, and I was going to do live streaming on the authentic stuff, but it was ported to PC, and I did a little bit of live stream and hope to continue doing a little bit of live stream with that. Now that's copyrighted material. Now whether or not it's transformative or a commentator kind of perspective for me to be playing that, doing a let's play, and I'm talking about it while I'm doing it. I'm talking about it while I'm doing it. I'm not talking about other stuff while it happens to be the thing that I'm doing, which is what a lot of streamers will do. But even that is okay. It's debatable. It's legally debatable. But I'm focused on the game itself, talking about the game itself. And it had been flagged, and it is not monetizable by me. It would never be monetizable by me. The ownership is that company. So I did it. I did it for nothing. Well, I mean, I had my fun, and it's for exposure. You know, I'm a little guy, so didn't care at the time. And it's kind of cool because I technically got permission from the company. I technically have legal permission from the company to have made that thing in the first place, even though it's up there and I don't get money for it. I do get something out of it, out of having done it, out of having put it up, like going forward forever. I'm kind of like licensed to use it. I mean, from that perspective, it's actually pretty cool being a little guy and being like, having the company go, hey, even if it was automated, having the company go, hey, that's ours. You don't own that. For sure you don't own that. You know that, right? Like, yeah, I know that. That's cool. We're cool. If I were to do that with music, then it would be a lot of work and a lot of commentating, just a lot. And it can get really complicated. I know that every single time I would be absolutely cut down every single video, every single time. And because of the amount of work, it just wouldn't be worth it. In the sense that, you know, if I were to say my time is money, everybody, even for a person making content for free, should think about your time is money. You should, that's the way you add, that's the way you assume that you have value to contribute to the world through your art, is you think of yourself as being good in, you have enough self-esteem to think of that effort having value, even if you never intend to make money, for example. You want to think of it you want to think of it positively, and just knowing that the end result would never respect that process is demoralizing enough that I never would have wanted to start any of that in the first place. So while I wanted to develop videos doing song reviews, even with tiny little snippets and explaining and understanding and learning the topic, you know, maybe make it a little bit of a hobby, even if it was just like one of these a month or something like that. It's not my thing, it's not my channel, whatever. Or start a new channel, let's just have one video a month doing this. Half-hour review on a 3-minute song kind of thing. I now know that it's just something I'm not going to do. I'm not going to do it not because I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it because the mechanism by which I can share that disrespects the value of my time. Even if I never monetized it, yeah, something about it feels wrong because it's cold and it's automated. It is wrong from a philosophical perspective, and it is actually technically unnecessary from the legal perspective. I would also say it's wrong from the legal perspective. But, you know, I'm not a lawyer, and I certainly don't have the budget and the people compared to that big monstrosity that I couldn't even contact in the first place. So because some robot will just callously turn a 0 into a 1, I may as well just not make it in the first place.